Brews and Banner Podcast. Banner Podcast. Brews and Banner Podcast. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Brews and Banner Podcast. I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, is the legendary Brew Crew. What up, fellas?
I was reading this weekend. Mama. Nah, it doesn't taste like dirt. My name is Lou Belgians, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm wondering, does Delaware have an actual culture? This is the podcast that we talk about beer, but we also talk about a lot of things that's happening in the world, politics, movies, anything really that comes to our mind while we're here sampling these brews. Grab a drink and pull up a chair.
Ooh, we love you, Brews and Banter Podcast.
What up? Welcome to Brews and Banter Podcast, where the topic is the rockin' and the brew. Well, that'd be the fuel. I'm your host, Rob G. And shout out to the legendary Brew Crew who are traveling with their families. So shout out to them. This is episode 290, our Brews and Banter Podcast. If this is your first time joining us or me, welcome to the show. I'm glad you are here for episode 290. And if you are returning Bruiser and Brewsette, welcome back. I am glad you can join us for this episode of Brews and Banter Podcast, because we do have a great guest this afternoon, this morning, this evening, whenever you are listening to the podcast. So without further ado, we're going to bring Jordan Harvey, a.k.a. If You Are IG Beers Around the Way, to the podcast. Let me give him a round of applause.
Hey man, what's good, man? I appreciate the introduction, and thank you, Rob, and the whole Brews and Banter family for having me on today. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. We are glad that you can join us today here on this beautiful evening, I should say.
Yeah, man.
Before we get into everything, we always like to know what everybody is drinking on. So what are we drinking today? And we always start with our guests. So Jordan, what you drinking on today?
Well, anybody that knows me knows I like hazies. So I'm drinking, good old hazy from Other Half in the Harvey Wilder glass. So I'll be plugging that, a little bit of something. But yeah, all extra shipper, everything. So double dry hopped IPA. It's hopped with Citra, Crush, Rawaka, and Citra Cryo. It's a collab between Other Half, Angry Chair down in Florida, Side Project, Wellworks, and The Veil. So it's a list of haze houses on the collab, man. How about you, man? What you sipping on?
I got from the from Black Viking, one of my faves. I have the Zinger beer. There you go. The Zinger beer. There you go. It's 5.5% ABV. I don't think I asked you what's the ABV on yours.
ABV on mine is 8.5. Right where I like to be.
Oh, you one of those 7 and up guys? Like,
when in Rome, you try, sometimes I try to make the beer count. So yeah, when in Rome.
I got you. This is gonna light. This is 5.5%, so it's not too heavy, but it's easy drinker. Got some like ginger. You definitely are in for a treat. This as it says, Zinger beer, so it is a ginger beer. There it is in my Crown of the Hop glass there.
Okay. Black on everything. I like it.
Yeah, I try every now and then as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, we like it, man. So yeah, man. Do you typically go for more to like the lighter styles, or you got a style that you really like, or you just you equal opportunity?
I'm equal opportunity, but I think as I've gotten older, I've become less equal opportunity and more light beers. I've had a journey, so I try to go light. I mean, when I first started my craft beer journey, it was all stouts, like stouts every day,
Nice.
all the time, big beers. But now I'm like, I need something that I can make sure I can go to work tomorrow.
Yeah. I dig that. I dig that, man. Them stouts will take a toll on you, especially if you were doing like the barrel aged or the pastry ones. They coming in as low as 8 or 9, but most of those are usually a little higher for those stouts. But good deal. I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah, now I think I focus mostly on lagers, pilsners, real easy drinking beers that I can drink all day if I choose to. Uh,
Yeah.
um, like one of my favorite festivals is Log Jam, and it's coming up in June, and it's all lagers. So I'm like, hey, this is it's a good time. So I definitely enjoy that. All right, well, we both got something good drinking on. So without further ado, like we always like to know who our guest is, how you got in craft beer. So and introduce yourself to our fans or listeners or whatever. So without further ado, once again, I want to welcome to the podcast. There you go. And like they say, the proverbial floor is yours.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. So I'm Jordan Harvey, man. Georgia boy, currently located in the great state of Maryland, in the DMV. Um, my craft beer journey. Sometimes I have to I pick and choose where I want to start it. But craft beer wise, it really got started in the great Keystone state of Pennsylvania. But it was not with Keystone Light, for those that are wondering. No knock to Keystone, ain't nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't that. I was in Harrisburg for a number of years, and between friends that I made, frat brothers, shout out to the brothers of Omega Psi Phi, to there's people I met at work as well. Um, you go to enough company happy hours and you order enough Heinekens and people start looking at you sideways. So I was like, all right,
All
well,
right.
let me start trying this stuff. All right. So I started trying it out, and shout out to my brother. He lives over in Europe. So between trying like some craft beers on somebody else's dime at little corporate happy hours to going over to Europe and trying some of the actual authentic German and Belgian styles. Um, I came back to Pennsylvania with a hunger to learn more about it. So that really was kind of what that was a slippery slope I got into from traveling and from being able to try new things without having to foot the bill per se. And it took me to brewing beer. I was a home brewer for a little bit. So my
Okay.
cousin he hooked me up with a home brew kit that was collecting dust. So I was like, man, I'll give it a shot because I was very interested in it. And then from there, I've gone a lot of different ways, of which I'm very grateful. I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of people, and I technically it's been about like 10 years or so, but I feel like I'm very early in my craft beer journey because I'm still learning. I'm still trying new things. I'm still discovering new breweries, new styles of beer, new hops,
All
which
right.
I don't think you ever really get to a point where you know it all. But um, that's how my journey started, and we knee deep in it and into it now.
So
Yeah,
how that first beer kit work out? Like what was
yeah.
it and how did it work out?
Uh, man, it was just a standard ale. Like literally, it was nothing fancy about the beer. It was one of those Northern Brewer kits that you get. Uh, like it may have been a 5 gallon batch. I feel like after I did that one, I only did 5 gallon batches, but it may have been like an even smaller batch that I did. And it was cool. It was drinkable. Nobody
All right.
died that tried it. Nobody got sick, so it was all right like that. But it was definitely interesting because again, like the first thing you learn about beer is that uh sanitary cleanliness is next to godliness. So like it got to
Right.
have a clean everything, or you'll get some off colors, off flavors, off everything in your beer. So like I really had a newfound appreciation for all the people who mass produce beer and all the people who just produce beer locally. But it's good, and they offer it at farmers markets, or they sell it out the trunk, or they actually sell it at mainstream distributing and everything else. So yeah, that brewing brewing that first ale was really insightful, and then from there I started to experiment a bit more, and I brewed a couple ambers, brewed a couple uh pale ales, a couple IPAs, but nothing too crazy. Like I didn't get into the sours or the mixed firm stuff because I was just kind of scared of it a little bit. It was a little intimidating just to kind of
Right.
brew it at the crib. in addition to my wife, she was like, "Look, we're not gonna have all this brewing equipment everywhere, so you can keep trying stuff." So I had to
Uh,
be mindful of that too, which was great, and no complaints there. But yeah, man, did you ever get into homebrewing?
I did. Well, I should once. I did it one time. People love the beer,
Okay.
but it was right before I had kids. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then but then my son was born, and then after that, man, I didn't go back.
Yeah.
I drink beer, but I didn't go back to brewing it. Every now and then I say I'm gonna get another kit and go for it. Maybe do it in my garage and uh and and see what happens.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think. Nah, probably not. I'm lying to myself. I'm gonna lie to the listener. Oh, we gonna wait for that beer. You be waiting a long time.
Yeah. But I mean, it's all good. No kids yet, but even the times I did or have brewed, because I mean, technically I still do some home brews, but not necessarily at home. I go to like a home brew shop and brew it that way.
Oh,
But I mean, it's not really my like beer, just like technology. It's a whole big world. People will say, "Oh, I do tech," and it's like, well, you must do the same thing my uncle or my cousin does. It's like no, and I feel like beer is very much the same way to where you can be in beer and not actually brew. And I've
right,
discovered that for me, uh, being in beer, the brewing process isn't actually what really gets me excited. It's really bringing projects to life, the distributing the beer, get more people in tap rooms that look like me, or excuse me, look like us, I should say.
right,
And that's really kind of my push and my where my beer advocacy, some of the passion behind it. So as much as I appreciate the practice and the art of craft beer and brewing, that's not really what gets me excited to go, dump bags of grain and all the other stuff. I just, I can appreciate it. I'll do it, but I ain't like, man, I can't wait till the next time I got to do that. That's just not the part. That's not the part of the process that I enjoy the most.
yeah, yeah. Because even when I did the small batch, just cleaning, I was like you were saying, cleaning is the main thing. I was like, yeah, I don't think I love this. I don't think I love the cleaning.
Right. Yeah, man. It's like that.
uh, Now you said you between corporate happy hours and going to Europe, was there one beer that said, "Oh man, this is"? Was there one beer that made you just start saying, "Let me learn more about craft beer life"?
Oh man, that's a great question. So my first, let me not be too long-winded. My first couple beers in life were your traditional, commercial beers, Budweiser, Bud Light Lime, even. Yeah, you can judge me later. It is what it is.
I had
Uh,
it, so I can.
yeah, Yingling. Well, I mean, like those were like the big ones that, uh, and Heineken, obviously, those were like the big ones that if I was going to a cookout type situation, or if I was doing something, I would have those. So very crisp, very traditional, light uh lagers or pilsner, just very light beer. So like the first craft beer I had was that I really went crazy over was the Curio from Allagash, and that
Okay.
is a Belgian style triple or tripel for the people who like to stick their pinkies out. Um, and then when I went to Europe and I had a lot of, doubles, triples, quads, box, everything else, I was like, man, it's very different from all the other lighter styles that I had up until that point. And like the caramel, like that clove finish, like man, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I would definitely say, Allagash found a way into my heart quickly. And then from there, I really began to open my eyes up a bit more. I'd be remiss to not say this because I think it strikes a lot of people, or I think it comes off as a bit of a surprise. But and I hated IPAs when I first started drinking craft. It was just
Uh,
like not it. Now, and this is not to disparage this particular beer or this particular brewery, but um, I think it was a lot of because all IPAs aren't created equal, and they're
right.
different
Sure.
IBUs, different hop bills, different profiles, different styles. You got your New England, you got your West Coast, you got your American. Um, Trogs Perpetual was like a no go for me when I first had it because it was just like
Uh,
very big, very
yeah.
bitter, and like very like in your face. And I was like, man, this is not really doing it for me. And again, this is almost, again, almost a decade ago. So
Right.
it's been a while, but that really wasn't doing it for me. It took me to start traveling and it just be open minded with beer before I find myself in the mainstream with all the other haze bros, uh, and I'm okay with it. But nevertheless, I got my start with Belgians. Belgian style triples, doubles, and quads were really what drew me into it. And I was impressed at how many local craft breweries were attempting to do that traditional monk style, and that was just
Right.
very really dope to me. Especially like in America, everybody was like, "Oh, all American beer is, is." Uh, I don't know if it's a family show, but it was is water basically, but not so eloquent way to say it. And I was like, well, I don't think that's true. I think American breweries and brewers have something to say that's not just all we are is Coors Light and Budweiser. So
Right.
uh, I really started to look at more past the big names and into like those small family owned breweries or even some of the hype breweries, but just like those breweries that you don't hear about. They don't have commercials for them, but they make really, really good, if not great beer. And
Right.
that perpetuated my slippery slope into craft beer.
Yeah, I get it because even nowadays, even though I'm not against IPAs. That's not my first go-to style. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
like 'cause like Trogue, that Trogue beer was like, I don't know, but I'm
Yeah.
surprised you. But I get it. But being if you were in Harrisburg, you got Trogue, you got um, England. When I worked in PA, that was the first time I had England. So I get it.
Okay.
So you got to at least explore those beers we used to drink at work. So that was always a good time. Like, hey man, bring on the England.
Yeah, and like one of the other things, as good as good as Trogs was and experiencing it, and even like Yingling, America's oldest brewery, all of that being in Pennsylvania, even like Victory with
Right.
uh like Golden Monkey, like all of those beers were like great for me to discover as like local, dare I say, American craft that was doing some of those Belgian styles I thought even better, if not right on par with it. So yeah, shout out to PA. PA. I had nothing but good nights in PA. So shout out to PA.
Oh, there you go. Now, in your time in Europe, like, was there a? I guess was it? I guess you were already. I think you kind of already said it was like Belgian versus German beers. Like, what was? I guess Belgium was your favorite in terms of those styles over there, or the countries in terms of what beer was.
Yeah, I would say so. Like I feel like what the Germans and even the Czechs do very well is beer that tastes like beer, very approachable, light beer. It's not to say that they don't have dark styles, but just like your traditional, like when people are going to Oktoberfest in Munich or anywhere in Germany, they're not ripping triples, right? Like
Right,
they're
right.
doing fest beer and Mertzens. So like it's just very, very different light beer like that. And again, I was not only chasing like the flavor and that I really enjoyed that, but also I mean like the the ABV, if I'm being honest, if you have a golden drac or if you have some of those really big Belgian beers, like you don't need a lot of them. So you can really appreciate them and sit with them. And just where I was in my they say your palate changes every 7 or so years. Just where I was in life, that was like it was a perfect handshake.
Okay.
uh, so yeah, so definitely Belgian styles were definitely more appealing to me back then, and even now. I mean, I still like them, but I'm a little bit more open minded. I'm not as uh, double, triple, 9% or higher as I was, back in the day. Of course.
Yeah, you were talking about the clove. I think the clove gets me. That's why I don't love Belgians. 'Cause I think, well,
Yeah,
it's the banana flavor. I don't think a banana type flavor. That's what I don't enjoy. I guess,
yeah,
but
I get you.
I'll drink it. Like I'll drink anything at least once or twice or three
Right.
times.
Yeah. Yeah. I get you. I get you. It's interesting like that because I don't think I like that flavor outside of beer as much as I enjoy it or can appreciate it in the beer. So man, I completely get it. And that's a good thing about beer. I mean, it's so many different styles and flavor profiles. So there's something for everyone. I always um, I'm sure that annoys a lot of people. A lot of my like close friends and family, male, female, or otherwise, they'll be like, "I don't like beer. I don't see how you drink this all day." I'm like, man, I just felt you haven't found the
Yeah,
beer for you.
yeah,
That annoys people, but that's how I feel about it.
I agree because that is most of the time the case. Because I mean, one, if people like to disagree, but it pairs better with food than wine,
Yeah,
especially if you find your right one. You just have, like you said, you haven't found your right one if you say you don't like beer, because there is, you can find real sweet, real sweet shit, or you can go
yeah,
you can get that real bitterness. I mean, there's something for every palate, and if you identify if you're a drinker, if you can identify like one of the drinks you like, so like if you're drinking like whiskey or some hard liquor, definitely something that you can find that you can rock with in the beer world. So I get that for sure. Now
yeah,
where
man.
now where the beers around the way moniker come from? Like where did that all start?
Man, the um, the short of it is I was doing a lot of so I was naive a bit to the uh social media beer scene. I'll say it that
Mhm.
way first. And then I was really naive and ignorant to like the black beer scene, specifically black beer scene and social media. So like I was going all these places. I've been very fortunate in my life. I was going all these places, domestic or otherwise, and I was having beer. I was taking pictures just for like Untapped or just for my own
Right.
personal. I was sharing it with my friends, but like I was never really posting online. And then obviously the pandemic hit. We had a little panoramic in 2020, and it was a opportunity for me to kind of share all the beers that I've had like around the way, like around the different places that I've been to.
Gotcha.
So I just kind of I pieced the two together, and I'll be remiss. I mean, one of my coworkers, I was very ambitious several years ago before I realized how much it sucks to actually own a brewery. But I was like, man, I'm gonna own a brewery one day, and I need to find a name for it. And they're like, oh well, it could be like the Around the Way Brewing Company or something like that. And I wrote it down, but it didn't really like stick with me. But when it was time to like just post stuff that I do or stuff that I've been able to do, like just traveling or just bopping around town, I was like, man, we're gonna be beers around the way. So that's really the long and short of it.
All right. So so eventually you do want to open a brewery, or you just said
Nah, man, I think uh breweries are a good indicator for how healthy the community is that they serve. That's why you'll see, a lot of breweries pop up in, more affluent areas or good areas or whatever. But I realized, at least, and then this was like 2018. So, I mean, who's to say what happens, years from now? But like 2018, I was very adamant about it. But I also realized there's like a brewery open, especially in Pennsylvania specifically. There's like a
right.
brewery opening like every 2 to 3 months, if not like shorter. Like if you, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm sure if you were to look at the amount of breweries in 2017 versus the amount of breweries in 2019 before the pandemic, because the pandemic obviously is a whole like anomaly, but like they were just opening everywhere on the
Yeah,
corner. So I
yeah,
just thought the market was saturated. And I was like,
right.
well, maybe I'd be better fit, supporting breweries or a brewery versus opening my own. And then when I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of things behind the scenes. And it truly has to be like a passion project for people.
Right, right,
It's not something you go in like trying to get rich. It's not something you go in thinking it's not going to be like uh, it's not going to be stressful, because it in fact is. And there are ways to do it, but just where I'm at, I don't have the time, dare I say, patience or capital to do it. So it's not really on my to do list to open a brewery at any point. But I definitely want to support the great breweries that exist and are opening or potentially on the verge of closing as best I can, because I think that's important, especially as people's habits have changed since the pandemic, where people don't even drink as much as they used to. So it's a lot of those things that kind of factored into my ultimate decision to say, you know, uh, may have been a good idea at the time, but you got to pivot. And I just felt like
Right.
it made more sense for me to pivot.
I got you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I mean, I think at one point we had talked about possibly doing something like that, but then we're like, oh man, maybe contract brewing, but we never. The more we think about it, the more it's like, eh. So we may do it eventually. We'll see what happens. 'Cause there people always have access about it, and I'm always one foot in, one foot out. Like, I can see it, but also I see like some of the I guess some of the hardships that you see. Even though, like you were saying, even though there's breweries closing, there's a lot of breweries that people are still saying, hey, I got an idea, I'm opening. I think I just saw two more opening around us in short order coming up around here in
Yeah.
Delaware. So people, I mean, hey, if that's your dream, if it's your dream and passion, I say go for it. You never know what happens, because if you're making great beer, and sometimes people don't focus on it, but if you have quality events or market your brewery correctly, it could be the difference between not going out of business and being one of the top breweries in your area. So if that's your
Yeah.
passion, go
Yeah.
for
Like
it.
you know, I never discourage anyone for doing it. I just know, I had to make a decision for what was best for, me and my family. And that just really wasn't and hasn't been, a chief priority. It was a nice goal and dream. And I think just through friends, connections, partnerships, and even family, I've been able to kind of do some of those things that I wanted to do. That made me realize, like, maybe it wasn't opening a brewery as much as it was like being able to deliver beer to people, or being able to, advocate for, people of color, just like in the industry, or just exposing people to stuff like that. Again, like, I don't really know how the Delaware scene looks. But like the DC scene is I'll say it's nice. I definitely think, and I'm saying this from the perspective of um like diversity, like people of color and whatnot. Like
Right.
every brewery is different. I'm not at every brewery every night, so I can't vouch for like what happens when I am or aren't there.
Right.
But uh I have often been one of two other people of color in a brewery. And I just feel like that's something I would like to see reversed. Like it ain't gotta be all blackety black black. It ain't gotta be all like that. But like let's at least have a bit of diversity. I don't, in the South, it's a saying, flying the buttermilk. It's just like the
Right.
one or two black. I don't want to be that,
Right.
or I don't want to be that on repeat when
Right.
it's not as if I think our communities don't drink beer. I just think they haven't either been exposed to it, or they don't really feel like those spaces are safe. Sometimes
Right.
it's very uncomfortable to be, one of one
Right.
in a space when people are drinking and you don't know what can happen. So um, I definitely get it. I don't criticize anybody for not going. I don't award trophies to people who do go. I just want to create an environment that it's that people that know that it's a third space for them to go to, especially people that look like us. So that's been one of my better pivots. It's not like, oh well, what can I do to brew beer and open my brewery? It's like, well, what can I do to support breweries and just show other people that it's like, you won't be alone. There's other people like us that like beer just like you do.
Right. Now, like you said, now you were a Georgia boy that was also in PA, spent some time in Europe. How did you tap into the beer scene in the DMV?
Man, so that's funny. COVID. I so Kofi for Sankofa, shout out to Sankofa, Courtney and Charles and Black Brew Movement, Sheldon at Black Beauty, shit, I think even Urban Garden, Imani and company. Man, I sent them DMs on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, y'all need to volunteer to like pour at this festival, or like, is there anything that you could? Is there any way that I could like support what you're doing?" I was like very naive to how many like brands and or breweries or businesses, beer businesses, that there were that were already out there. So I I cold called, man. They didn't know me from Adam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I sent them some DMs, and I was fortunate enough that just um shit, Kofi gave me a shot. Courtney gave me a call. Unfortunately, I could not pour the day she wanted me to pour, but she still reached out to me. So I think that's what it was. I was, I'll say I was fortunate enough to have the gumption. Shout out to the South for that. I was fortunate to have the gumption and be like, yo, like, I want to support. And I get like financial support is one piece, but like I'm willing to support with my time and my efforts. Um, so that was really how I got active in it. And then credit to Brandy at DC Beer. You know, she reached out. She was like, "Hey, I seen you been, somewhat active in the community. DC Beer, we like to kind of add you to the team." So that was really like when I'll say things really took off to where I've been very fortunate and blessed to work with the whole DC Beer team and to meet a lot of industry people because just working with DC Beer, which is it's a media company at heart, right? So we DC Beer we have our own podcast, our own website. We do local DC, Maryland, and Virginia craft beer news, and I was able to meet a lot of industry people that way, and just a lot of other influencers and beer advocates and whatnot. So like that really, especially coming out of the pandemic, because this was like circa 22, 23, so 2, 3 years ago, coming out of the pandemic when people were getting a lot more active. um, I was kind of I was embedded, if you will, in the mix because I was like, "Hey, I want to go to these events to either pour or support people, and then people come to those events and I get a chance to meet them." And that just really is kind of how this whole thing has come uh, to fruition for me, to where I again, it's not too many I'll say industry people, and I'm reluctant to say this because it's going to be, I don't know who he is. It's more of a, I've been able to meet a lot of people in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area that are in the industry or used to be in the industry or want to get in the industry. So I'm very fortunate to have that connection.
Okay. All right. So that's yeah. So you just took it. Well, you said you had a passion about it, and you just took on yourself to jump in the DMs. Hey. I think I think that's how it all kind of starts. I mean, even when we started the podcast, we didn't really understand. We didn't know how many black people were in there, like craft beer. Because when I started drinking craft beer, was just like you're saying. It was I would go to a brewery, and it's just like all eyes on me. It felt like, I know it might not have been, but it felt like they was all looking at me. And then we went to like beer, even when we went to beer festivals, it was still someone saying, well, you might see the one or two folks, give the head nod, like, "Yeah, I see you across the way."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you hear me? So
It,
that's cool.
yeah, it's funny, and sorry to interrupt there, but it's funny because uh, Bitter Fruit, formerly known as Strange Fruit, black owned brewery in Northern Virginia, they actually created a pilsner, and the name of the beer is Subtle Nod, because it's that one of those things where like when it's just you and me in the brewery and we on the other side, it's like that whole like, "What's up, bro? We at least I'm safe. I'm outnumbered, but I got backup." You know what I
All
mean?
right.
So I definitely get that, man. I've been there too many times, and I just want to make it a bit more common, uh, just and again, it's not. I'm always advocate for black people, right? But this is for all our minorities. I mean, one of my best partners, he Bolivian, so it's not exclusive to us. It's just
Right.
I just want to be a little bit more balanced. That's all I'm looking
Right.
for, is balance.
Yeah, just when you go in there, you feel, even if you just feel welcome, even though that's name, you're not welcome there, but sometimes even if they don't blatantly say you're not welcome here, just feel like that because they're not. Sometimes the music is wrong, the entertainment is wrong. Like, everything says, this ain't my vibe.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
for sure.
and it could be something easy as that. It could just be, hey, every now and then, hey, instead of on station, I put it on how it gets shuffled on, how shuffle the music or something, give it a change the speed or something like just something easy like that. So I always can tell a lot about a brewery when you listen to the playlist
which is actually also even funny because a lot of breweries that we have brewers that we talk to, you'd be surprised what the things that they listen to when they're brewing is not what plays in the brewery. You'd be like, why not? Like, come on,
Hey,
brother.
that is a fact. And that's the other thing too. You know, the perception isn't always the reality.
Right.
And again, like to the point, I'm fortunate enough to meet a lot of people that own, run, or work at some of the breweries, even brew at some of the breweries in the DC, in Maryland, and Virginia. Virginia is probably where I'll say weakest at. Southern or inside the Beltway is probably where I'm strongest at in terms of like knowing people. But like, man, these cats listening to hip hop. It's like Tribe Called Quest on like repeat. Like it's,
All right.
but it's like the brew house. You got, uh, the Cure, Metallica, Corn. So and again, it's not that that's wrong. It's just
Right.
that if you've never been to a brewery before and you walk in and all you hear is like Taylor Swift or like stuff that's like very dare I say, skews towards a certain demographic, it can be there. It can be like somewhat off-putting, and the inverse is true too. Like I'm sure there's a population of people who, if they hear Lil Boosie playing, they might not want to go in there. So like, I get it,
Right.
but like you said, like finding that like common ground, or at least being conscious enough to say, hey, uh, only a handful of people actually want to like listen to, or excuse me, need or even care about like the music that's being played. So I just put on early 2000s, put
Right.
on 90s. It ain't got to be like you said, shuffle. It ain't got to be a specific genre, because again, music is the one thing that everybody does. I mean, everybody knows rock artists like everyone knows rap artists. Like, it's not a black and white thing as much as I think people make it out to be. It's just that can be one of the things that either turns people off or like makes people kind of second guess it. It could be all, subjective and internal to that one person, but it's just saying like make it more inclusive by, I got Britney Spears here and then I got Ludacris there and
Right.
whatever else. So I'm with
Right.
you on that.
Right. And if you want to go yacht rock, if you got Billy Joel, you can give me Billy Ocean.
Hey,
I mean,
little
you
Hall and
can,
Oates.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can do a little bit of everything. Uh,
yeah,
and I found that some breweries that work well. I guess I think they do try to do some of that, and or at least are aware of of their surroundings. I guess in terms of just how they can do how they can do better, or and reach out. Because sometimes if you look around some breweries where they located, they were like, it's the whole black neighborhood right there. What are you doing? Right. So
right,
it could
right.
be. So it's
Yeah,
like how do you talk to them? How do you make them feel welcome? Like it's always like you said, it's about balance and just knowing you don't have to go overboard. Don't have to be like hip hop night if that's not
yeah.
who
Oh
you
yeah,
are. You don't want
I can't stand
performative. You
that.
don't want to be performative stuff like welcome to hip hop night. But you can
Right.
definitely have something that shows that you are aware of the neighborhoods you are in. So we'll see
Yeah,
how that.
and the last thing I'll say is just and strike a balance, and this might give me some hate, but the other side of it is, and I'm sure you've been a part of it as well, is uh although I do think that I think there's work to be done on both sides. Although I do think uh and it's not just like the music. I don't want people to generalize or dumb it down to that. It's just like the whole approach, the aesthetic, like how they, treat and even interact with people. I think that's something that could be massaged a bit. But also on the flip side, just from the consumer perspective, uh, you can't always go somewhere and expecting them to only play. Like it may not always be that approachable. And sometimes
Right.
you gotta like. Sometimes I would encourage people to push through, right? Like I've met and had some of the greatest nights with people, with beer, with learning, with just sipping, as you say, uh, to yacht rock or to NSYNC or to insert rock band here. So it's not to say that you have to have it tailored to you for you to enjoy it. That's not to say that. It's just to say that I think they should do a better job of tailoring it to be a bit more balanced. And I think for us, we should not be intimidated by some things when, again, they'll only get better the more we do it. and we'll only get a little bit, more comfortable with it the more we do it. So it's like both. I think both sides kind of have a bit of work to do, just because again, we're at a shortage of third spaces, which is a space that you can go to that's not work, that's not home, and you can just not even if you're drinking, I mean, but just you can just connect with your friends. And I think we have a shortage of that since COVID.
Right. Now you also I've seen it in terms of some of the work you've done in terms of just some of the events you have thrown through. You're also part of the Harvey Wilder Foundation. Now what is that?
So the Harvey Wilder Foundation, it is a HBCU scholarship foundation founded by my brother, myself, my two cousins that went to Spelman. My brother and I, we went to Grambling, and uh, we're a very HBCU heavy household. So,
Okay.
I don't disparage anyone that didn't go to HBCU, but for those that are considering, young and old, because it's never a bad time to learn. I would encourage you to consider an HBCU, especially if you are a person of color. Um, what is one of the things that my stepdad, my great late stepdad, he did for us growing up. I was going to the Atlanta Classic, I was going to the Honda Battle of the Bands, I was going to Gramblin's homecoming, Fort Valley's homecoming. Like I was going to these things. So I grew up in a very HBCU centric household, and I get that everyone doesn't have that experience, but for those that are pursuing that experience, we wanted to create an organization that would reduce some of those barriers. So we started off just giving out $500 book scholarships to students that want going to HBCUs. We've been fortunate enough through our donations and the support that we have, as well as a couple beer collabs, because it's all kind of like full circle,
All right.
to raise enough money to now we give uh, at least three. We're working on our fourth and fifth, but at least three $1,000 scholarships, and we purchased the students' first passport. Because again,
Oh,
beers around the way. Like to travel when I can afford to do it. My brothers in Europe, my two cousins that went to Spelman, they've been all around the world. So there's something that we all care about, and we think that that's also missing. And the HBCU community is just like the exposure to new ideas, the exposure to travel. That's been my greatest teacher. So that's what we do. We try to mentor kids. We try to do resume building events, but also do scholarship events, right? If you apply for the Harvey Wilder Scholarship Foundation, which unfortunately our window is closed currently, we are usually open from December 1st to April 1st, so we have time to deliberate and announce to the students as they graduate in May. But we found it was needed to have someone or a group of people who just promotes it, right? And if you can't work with us again, then apply for the Pell Grant, apply for some of these other scholarships. It's just one of my frustrating things is, I have student loans. I'm one of those people who I had to, my family and I, we had to borrow money for me to get to college. And, that can be a huge drag on like future growth and whatnot. So we're like, well, how can we alleviate? Well, finances is the easiest part. But the other piece of it is if we aren't doing it, like if we aren't giving you the money, there's so much other air quote free money out there. So we just wanted to encourage people to apply, especially people that look like us, because again, socioeconomically, we tend to uh, benefit from those funds if they are available, which they tend to be. Then we also tend to be harmed by not using those funds when it's time to pay the student loan or when the COVID pause is up. It's like that type of stuff we want to try to alleviate for the next generation.
now, did you say when that organization started? Did you say when it started?
So we started in 2015, man. We are celebrating our 10th year this year. So thank
Oh,
you for
nice!
asking.
Congratulations!
Yeah,
Congratulations! A
appreciate
round
it.
of applause.
Yeah, man. It's something. I have a couple hands or I got a lot going on, but it's all things that I'm passionate about, and like I've been fortunate to kind of bring some of them full circle to where I can brew beer or make beer, advocate for beer, and that can also generate money for HBCU students, and I can also inform people of HBCUs that don't know that they exist. I mean, you'd be surprised at how many people of color and or people that aren't of color. I'm like, what is that? I never heard of this school before. Like, I didn't know they had all black schools. Like, why do we need those? Why do we have those? And just informing people of like just the history of this country, but also the need, especially with the changing, cultural environment. There's a need for people of color to feel safe and to
Right.
also learn and grow. So we want to. It's not that we want to. We will always continue to do that for people, and we've been fortunate that we've had supporters that allow us to do that.
All right. Now you said the window closed for the application was in April. Like, do you do like an event or something for the winners, or have the winners been notified? Like when do they find out that they won? I guess.
So our board is currently deliberating. We had the most applicants this year, so well over 100, which might sound very small to some people, but for us, that's big. I mean, again, this is a family-run operation,
Right.
and we had 100 over 100 applicants from at least 20 or so states. So it's not even just Georgia, Maryland, Virginia. I mean, we get it from California to New York. We've had people apply. So currently the board is deliberating to see who the applicants will be. We'll notify them as early as like Memorial Day, because that's in Georgia, you usually graduate at the end of May. I know other places it's a little later, but we'll start engaging with the finalists here shortly, just because, I mean, not everyone applies to one school, so they may have applied with intentions to go to Howard, but all of a sudden they get a full ride to go to Maryland. Well, we want you to go to Maryland. I mean, go. I mean, shit. If you ain't got to spend the money, don't spend the money. But we can't give you no money even if we wanted to, because we are only HBCU. So we begin to interface with those students to see where they're going, and if they've officially been accepted, for that matter. And then
Right.
we just do all the back end checking to make sure the GPA is what you said it was, and all that jazz. So that's coming here shortly as May ramps up, but we have not officially announced anything yet.
Okay. All right. And did you say you do events through the year to raise money? Like, how can people support, and who wants to support the foundation?
So HAWIL Foundation.org is our website. So you can go there. I really would encourage people to donate, contribute financially. And that can be as little as $5 or 15, 20, 50, 1,500 if you really want to be a big baller. But we're doing a campaign now to push our supporters to do more recurring donations. We tend to get a lot of bumps for like Giving Tuesday, when a new Homecoming beer drops. Homecoming is a beer collab that we do with Third Hill Brewing Company in Silver Spring, Maryland. We also did a collab with Astrolab, also in Silver. Third Hill is formerly Astrolab, so we've done some collabs with them just to raise some money. We tend to get a nice size bump there. Black History Month is always a big success for us. But what we're trying to do in the meantime is just more like social campaigns, but also really word of mouth campaigns. So the latest and greatest campaign is our Long Push campaign, which we're asking people to contribute, again, as little as $5, as much as $25 just a month on a recurring basis, because again, that helps us really know how much money we can expect to bring in, and how many students we can bless with our scholarship. So that's the big piece. We are doing a big 10-year situation down in Georgia. One reason I haven't really pushed it or promoted it as much in this area is because I think there's a lot of people who would support our vision, and it may be a few people who really rock with me like the long way, but I ain't asking nobody to fly down to Georgia for a brunch when you can just spend that money that you can spend on that flight, just contribute it to the donation. So I haven't been pushing it as much in the DMV area.
All right. Hey, man, they can do both. Maybe
Hey, you're right. I should not limit it. Yeah.
If they're money loan, they might be like, hey,
Hey,
I'm
that's true.
gonna pull up and bring a couple of my people that live in Georgia. They might, hey, because even if they don't live in Georgia, maybe the people that they know are in Georgia and they don't, and they can't get there, but they can
they can spread the word and get their people to come out for you. So you
Well,
gotta
that's
let people
true.
know.
That's true. That's true. We'll do a better job of that throughout the summer. The event is scheduled for the last weekend in August, so we still got a bit of runway, right?
All right.
But yeah, we just been trying to be great. That's all. Sorry, my little doggo over here was doing something he got no business doing. So yeah, man, I really appreciate you asking me about Harvey Wilder. That's something I'm extremely passionate about. Before beer was ever an idea, supporting HBCUs was. So I appreciate you giving me a platform to promote that. And this is just to run my mouth about all the things in the beer world, beer related, and even just that I'm a resource. So what I would ask your audience or mention to your audience is, if you're ever in the DMV area, I definitely want to connect. If schedules don't work, that's cool. At least allow me to give you some recommendations on places to go or events that might be happening in the area for that particular weekend. Um, but yeah, Rob, shout out to you, Yoda, and Lou. I appreciate y'all, rock with me and give me an opportunity to come on here and push, push, push.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's awesome that your family, you got your whole family involved in terms of giving back into the community with the scholarships. Because I mean, even for a nonprofit I'm on, just getting you say 100 didn't seem like a lot. Sometimes that is a lot, because I've seen it where we were giving away. We like, hey, we got all this money over here, and sometimes people don't want to apply. So
Yeah,
getting
man.
100 is definitely awesome, and that hope that event and for 10-year anniversary being in 10 years, that's amazing as well, and hopefully that event in, you said August,
Yes, sir.
right?
August. Yep,
Uh,
yep.
and hey, I might be in Atlanta in August. Who knows?
Oh, well, hey, we'll stay connected, man. And we'll have a flyer coming out here shortly. So you'll see it, and I won't think so uh small minded, no, so narrow minded where I gotta target the South. We'll just let everybody know, and we'll see who shows up. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's a better approach.
yeah, because a lot of people I've known that was up north moved to the South, moved to Atlanta. So it's like, hey, where are you moving to? Atlanta, North Carolina, which is not too far away
Nope.
from Atlanta. So I mean, hey, yeah, I know a lot of them. But now just going before we wrap up, I just wanted to spin back around because I know you said you linked up with DC Beer. So what do you do with DC Beer?
Man, so I've written a couple articles, so
Oh,
like
you're an author too. Oh, so, okay.
uh
A
technically
writer,
technically
I should say.
well, technically both, but I don't like, it's a little imposter syndrome. I wouldn't, if I was writing things about me, I probably would not include that. That's not to say that I don't do it. It's just that I'm not, I don't know. I'll get over it eventually. But a lot of this stuff is relatively new to me. You gotta, Rob. So forgive me. Because again, when I was DMing people 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't think I was gonna be able to do a lot of what I've been able to do. And it's not that it's a me thing. It's definitely been a village. So a lot of the people around me have helped me and taught me and be patient enough to trust me with some of these things. But now, like at DCBR, right? I'm a co-contributor to like our biweekly podcast, and
Okay.
most of what I do is really on the events space. People ask me, like, what is my title? I'm a beer advocate or beer enthusiast. I know it's very general, but that's kind of the point. You know, I
Right.
I've joked with people. I'm somewhat trying to be, uh, because I've somewhat become that. It's like a bit of like a Swiss Army knife, or like a bit of a utility tool for people. Not that where they just use me and take advantage of me, but more so if there's a need, like, oh man, I can't do this, but I need somebody to pour at this event. Okay, well, I can help you out. DC Beer can help you out. Oh man, I got a new brewery I want to release. Okay, well, hey, I love to write about it, or at least get you on the podcast. So I do a lot of those things. host trivia at bars. If they need a little space to kind of lift the sales that night, or just you mentioned events is people are getting away from that. Some people are trying to get back to it because it's become increasingly obvious that without events, the beer won't sell itself, right? So that's
Right.
what we do. We do at DC Beer, we do a monthly beer share in the DC area. You have to be a Patreon member to attend, but you can bring all your favorite stouts that you've been sitting on for however long that you didn't want to drink alone by yourself, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, they don't want to drink it with you. Well, I got a whole bunch of beer nerds that'll help you. So that's what we do at DC Beer. So yeah, check us out, at DC Beer on social media, and at and dcbeer.com on our website.
So I should have introduced you as writer and philanthropist.
Oh God. Well, see, they some people will be like, oh, that's very, I aspire to make enough money, build enough relationships to be a philanthropist. Technically, yes, we're there, but I am not resting on my laurels. I think we got a lot more we can do. And I'm
Right.
just saying that based on what I was doing 10 years ago, shit, what we was doing 5 years ago. Like, just the growth that we've had that we couldn't have predicted. I'm not in the limiting myself for where we are now. But technically, yes, I am a writer and I am a
I got him.
philanthropist.
I got him.
Yeah, I mean, I will talk about what I do and what I want to do all day. But when it comes to like titles, I get a little queasy. Don't worry, I'm working on it. Again, I always got work to do, and that's some of the self work I'm doing, is not being shy about who I am and what I do.
All right. Well, we've had some James Beard Award winners, so you keep writing on this podcast. So we've had a couple of them. We might be talking about you next about winning the James
Man,
Beard. Yeah.
I I may have set that goal for the next three to five. I would love it. Who wouldn't like to be recognized for like the work they do? So
All
yeah,
right.
I would love to do that, especially if it's meaningful. But I just know a lot of awesome and wonderful people in the industry that I think are way more deserving than I am right now. So that's why, like, I say 3 to 5. Like, give me some time to grow, give me some time to learn. But if God say the same, or if the committee says the same, hey, I'll take
There you go.
it. I'll take it.
uh, now, two questions before we. I already said we were going to wrap up early, but two questions. Are there any events that DC Beer are coming up or doing? And is there an event that you are looking forward to in the upcoming months or weeks, personally?
Uh, yeah. So on the DC beer front, we have so for the young ladies that listen, we have a women's brew culture club. They meet up in DC once a month, and I don't know if y'all have had Amber on here, but my girl Amber Ponchi on social media, she's launching a Baltimore branch of that, so she's getting more like ladies out there involved, and I love that. You know what I mean? As much as I love, and I've been asking for balance. I really would like for it to not always be a sausage fest with guys with beards at breweries
Right.
too. So cheers to what Brandy and what Amber are doing on the Winter Brew Culture Club front. So those are probably the most immediate DC beer events. We do have our May monthly beer share coming up. To learn more about it, become a subscriber on Patreon. It starts as low as $5, and essentially unlimited beer. Again, drink responsibly, but essentially unlimited beer there. Um, in terms of events that I have my eyes set on, um, the Maryland Craft Beer Festival is May 10th. It's up in Frederick, Maryland. I'm looking forward to that one. As much as I've been to all these other tap rooms in and around Maryland, I haven't been to the Frederick or the Maryland Craft Beer Festival in Frederick. So this will be our first year going to that. Um, that's May 10th. The week after that, I was strongly considering tripping out to Delaware actually for
Huh?
Dewey's anniversary. I think is on the 16th. So I've had some Dewey beer from friends. Shout out to shout out to the homie. You know who you are, and uh, and if I'm not mistaken, they came to Snallygaster, and if they didn't come, they
They did.
brought
They
yeah.
were.
Everybody say. Uh, people were bringing me dewy beer. So hazies, of course, but I mean they make some really great beer. So I'm really considering looking forward to that on a personal note. And then Juneteenth, we're doing a Juneteenth brew release situation with bitter fruit down in Herndon, Virginia. We're still ironing out the details for that, but that'll be a another collab. And I guess the last thing I'm really excited about is I want again responsibly. I always caveat that way just to keep it, CYA. You gotta cover yourself. Uh, I want to see the Chocolate City Porter continue to move as it has. That was the collective collab that I appreciate you, Rob, for showing up and supporting us. But that was a big collab that we did with all of the black brands in the DMV area, and it was kind of green when we dropped it, but it's drinking beautifully and wonderfully now. So if people haven't had the opportunity to enjoy it, it's a whole bunch of spots you can find it at Beers Around the Way on my Instagram that we've published, or if you could just tap in with any of the black-owned breweries in the DC area, Soul Mega, um, Black Viking for sure. You're enjoying your Zinger beer. But yeah, we was able to get everybody together, and I was just honored to be a part of it. And that's really what I'm excited about. I'm excited to say we moved and we sold out so fast that hey, we got to do it again. So that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm hoping for.
It was definitely a great event, and it was awesome to see all the brands coming together and support one another and do that. Shout out to Third Hill as well for
Yeah, for
hosting the
sure.
event and doing that as well. It was definitely a great event, and yeah, that sounds like a lot. That's a lot of things going on. I got to check my calendar and see. I mean, we did a collab with Fradui Beer, so it's,
All
it's
right.
sold out. But we did do a collab with them. It was a smoothie, so you might not. I don't know if you ever drink a smoothie beer. Because it was for it was Halloween, so I had like a Halloween candies and stuff like that. So it was a sweet beer, like really sweet.
Well, again, it's different strokes for different folks. Everybody don't like the hazies, and everybody don't like the smoothies. I'm not a huge smoothie person. I know they do them really well.
They do.
I get them for my friends. I don't get them for me.
Yeah, they also have a really cool beer festival that happens in February as well. So if you're ever around in February, you pop them up to Dewey Beer and Friends is what it is. It's always a good time there.
Yeah.
Now, this is definitely not. It's definitely off topic, but it's not off flavor. I'm always hit our guest with a question that doesn't have anything to do with what we had talked about, but
Okay.
I've seen it going around, so I'm gonna ask you your top 4 favorite movies.
Oh God, man. So my dog, man. So let me announce right. We'll go ahead. So it's gonna be on some straight nerd alert. Nah, for real. People not gonna like this, but I'm a reject the premise because I'm that indecisive. And I won't give you my favorite movies because I'm just not that easy. Sorry. But I will give you my favorite like franchises because it's just easy in a way because each of these franchises have more than 4 movies. I'm a big
Yeah.
Star Wars fan, so shout out to I like Star Wars. I'm a big Marvel fan, so like it's not well with the exception of like the last 2 movies, and it's just because scheduling and whatever. I still got to see them, but I'm a big like MCU fan. I know people are very critical. It's gotten away from itself. Whatever. The fact that it from Iron Man to now, the fact that they have built this is insane to me because I don't know anybody else has ever done anything like it. So I put those 2 in there. Man, I thought it'd be a little easier if I went this way, but honestly,
You should just name 3 of them and 2.
yeah, probably. I'm gonna say it's gonna be kind of great. I'm gonna say Friday Night Lights, my guy, because I'm a
Okay.
big college football, but also like I know it's high school football. The fact that I like play high school football and like some of the scores, like some of the music in that movie is insane to me. I'm gonna rock with that one. And man, what do I just watch on the regular, man? Let's just round the nerd off, man. I just recently finished like recently, like in the past 3 months. I watched every extended version of Lord of the Rings, so I'm gonna put that in there.
Oh yeah,
So
you
yeah,
did say nerd alert.
yeah, hey, whatever. Yeah, so Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, and Friday Night Lights. People gonna be like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Hey, but that's it, man. I like those, and like right, as soon as I hang up with you, it's gonna be like, "Damn, I should have said such and such." Cause I like movies, but yeah, I don't really know if I got a top four. So that was a good question that really got me thinking now.
I'm gonna let you slide because I know somebody, even though there's a lot of movies in the Marvel universe, there's always one that somebody likes the most. Either it's Winter Soldier or Thor Ragnarok or the Endgame. One of them there's one that's just like, or the first Iron Man. I don't know. Sometimes people just have an affinity stone for
I
one
mean,
of
if I
them.
had to do that, I'd probably say like Civil War at the gate. Again, might rethink that later because again, it's what like 20 some odd movies, so I
Right.
might take that back later. But Civil War comes to mind, and I guess in the Star Wars front, man, Episode 3.
All right.
Yeah, Episode 3, because I mean that's really when you see why Darth is Darth. You feel me? Like you got to understand that people. I mean, again, everybody hated the prequels. Everybody hated the I don't even know what you call them. The six. Everybody hated 7 through 9, 7, 8, 9. I
Uh-huh.
appreciate the art. I understand it probably could have been better, but I'm not critical. I'm not overly critical of stuff that I didn't create, and also that I'm gonna watch it anyway. So
Right.
I'm a fan.
All right. We want to thank Jordan Harvey, aka Beers Around the Way, for coming on the podcast. Before we go, we always like to know how people can find you on these World Wide Webs, how they can support. I know you already said it once, but if you want to say it again, how they can support the foundation and check you out on these social medias. How can they find more about what you are up to and what you're doing?
So Instagram at Beers Around the Way. 4 words. It's not case sensitive and it's traditional spelling. And HAWIL Foundation .org for our website. So those are really the big ways to do it. More so, I think, and this is not to leave an audience out there, but I think the easiest way is really through Instagram, and through Instagram you can go off on your different rabbit holes of the foundation, DC Beer, all of that stuff is really available to you at Beers Around the Way.
All right. And you can find Bruising Banter Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or you can go to www.bruisingbanterpodcast. It's Bruising Banter Podcast on anything. You want to follow me, Rob Stay Bruising. There it is. Bing, 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 bing. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can even say, Alexa, play Bruising Banter Podcast. Shout out to 302 Yoda and Lou Belgium. This has been episode 290 of Bruising Banter Podcast. Once again, I want to thank the writer and philanthropist Jordan Harvey for coming on the podcast. Until next time, have a good week,
Man.
everyone.
Thank you, man. Peace.
Turn me up, 5.